And I go in there, and so then I sat like I wouldn't. They were like getting Jesse. They were getting Jesse, and I laid like I put my toes where like their faces were, so I wasn't like getting involved.
They seem horny.
Yeah, they were like, let's and I was like, you can suck my toe. And then she sucked my
Also,
toe.
about Jesse like inviting himself into a threesome, it's funny to me how Amanda says, like, how did you have the confidence to just walk in? Like, have you not met this guy? Like, he has confidence levels measured in megatons. Like, this is a guy who we just saw FaceTime the chick he's seeing smash drunk while he's taking a piss.
Okay, we're going to dive into Summer House right now. Dylan, want to give us a summary of what happened here?
Sure, yeah. It's basically an uninterrupted party. Almost uninterrupted. We did the only little break that we have it is like a brief clip of Lindsay in her apartment, like FaceTiming with her mom. But otherwise,
and saging
it's like,
it.
Yeah, saging it, purifying the bad vibes. But yeah, otherwise, basically a good old fashioned uninterrupted party. The focus at the start is largely on like Craig and Kyle trying to reconcile their differences while dressed as pirates. Jesse starts pretty aggressively hitting on Ciara while telling Wes that he's like feeling out how their friendship is, which is we'll get into that, but hilarious to me. Yeah, it just ends up with everybody back home drunk, and Jesse just inviting himself into a threesome with Imrul.
A foursome.
It was a threesome before he invited himself.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
3 plus a toe.
Yeah, no,
So,
I'm excited to get into this because I've just been getting caught up on Summer House, and it's great. This season's cooking. I'm having a lot of fun.
yeah, so you haven't watched a ton of Southern or Summer House before this. What's your impression so far of the season?
Like I said, I'm really enjoying it. The cast of characters is super fun. It's very freewheeling. The dudes in particular are pretty hysterical to me.
Yeah.
I'm having a great time with this.
Do you have any questions that you want to see answered in the next episode?
Yeah, and this will kind of shade into strategy talk, but my question is basically, do you think that Jesse is acting with any kind of strategy at all, or is he just a total like dopey fuckboy, like just like chasing the next squirrel in front of him, or do you think that he's like a man with a plan? That's what I'm curious about, because I'm not sure.
I think he's a man with 2 rocks rolling around in his head. I don't think that there's any strategy going on here, but I'm curious to know what your theory is.
I don't. I'm generally trying to feel it out. Like, I feel like there might be a bit of strategy, like in the back of his head, in terms of like, I think he might be like just trying to get Lexi jealous, because that can be a way to like to even tighten your bonds with somebody if you want to be a little bit manipulative about it. And he might be seeing an opportunity to both do that and like reinforce the importance that he has for West, which not that needs to be reinforced, because West is like completely following at his heels like a baby duckling, and which is also why it's so funny that he's like he's clearly hitting on it on his ex, and he's just apparently completely oblivious to it, despite it there being so many hits in front of his face. But I feel like he could be he could be aware of the strings he's pulling and how they might, the relationships he's building with different people might affect one another, and there could be a bit more intentional manipulation than meets the eye. I'm not sure, but that's one thing I'm excited to watch for moving forward.
I mean, everything about him just screams super horny, and that's it. The
Yeah.
fact that he just invites himself into a threesome in progress is, a pretty big indicator of that.
Yeah.
One of the first things we see of him this episode is he's just like talking with the rando girls that are there, and he's like, "Oh, so who here's got a husband?" Gets them to like raise their hand if they're seeing anyone. Like, I don't know, he just does not seem particularly calculating, but I like what you're saying about him potentially trying to get Lexi jealous, because that is a story that we have been seeing building throughout this season. This idea that he is maybe on a bit of a self-destructive like road there, like trying to self-sabotage this relationship because he sees himself getting too attached to her or her getting too
Mhm.
attached to him. Just looking for something that he can leverage to make a break when things are getting too serious. I think that could be the strategy there. I don't think that there's,
Mhm.
I think that that's definitely a possibility. I would be interested to see that sort of thing play out, especially if it was, Ciara who he was engaging with, because I could see a situation where, you know, if the relationship between Jesse and Ciara progresses and that Ciara perceives Jesse as having used her, as a way to break up with Lexi, or, as a means to an end to like destroy this relationship that he's building. And I wonder if she would like perceive that as being used in the same way that, West had used her last season, even
Mhm.
though, it's a bit different because this, the way that she perceives West to have used her, and I would agree that West did use her, was to try to elevate his own image within the eyes of the audience. This is
Yeah.
just more of a direct relationship as opposed to, a relationship with an audience. So yeah, I'd be interested to see how that plays out.
Yeah. Also about Jesse like inviting himself into a threesome. It's funny to me how Amanda questioning him says like, how did you have the confidence to just walk in? Like, have you not met this guy? Like, he has like
Yeah.
confidence levels measured in megatons. Like, this
Yeah.
is a guy who we just saw like FaceTime the chick he's seeing smash drunk while he's taking a piss. Like he has insane confidence. Like it's I do really think that's like, even for like somebody predisposed to being confident, for a man, like for every inch over 6 feet, that gets doubled.
Yeah.
And and Jesse is a man riding like an insane confidence high, and that's part of the fun of watching him, for me, honestly. Like, as much as it is like trying to figure out like how much thinking is actually going on in that head, just like watching this tall, very good looking, very charming man, because he is,
Yeah,
just
totally.
like running off of like superhuman confidence levels and being like, what is he going to steer himself into? Like where is this all going to end up? It's fascinating.
Oh yeah, absolutely. In terms of the presentation of Summer House, I think there's a lot that we can talk about overall in terms of how different Summer House is compared to a lot of other Bravo shows. The fact that we have these permanent setups within the house that we as an audience function as more, um, it makes us feel a bit more like voyeurs. It's more like
Mhm.
watching Big Brother. Um, but in terms of like the themes here, one of the things that really stood out to me was how we are getting these parallel or contrasting storylines between Jesse and Lexi and Paige and Craig, and this idea of like jealousy as uh, this issue within the relationship between Jesse and Lexi, and then Paige and Craig, where Craig is like being seen as too clingy. Yeah. For me, it's interesting to just like watch this play out and how we're seeing this kind of play out in parallel. But I'm wondering, is there anything that stood out to you in terms of how this show is presented?
Yeah, I think you hit on a good one there. The fact that there are a lot of like installed cameras in the rooms, like Big Brother style, is something that gives us some moments that feel like they stand out from the rest, like as having extra intimacy. And when Paige is talking about her relationship, kind of like you said, there's a really good moment where she's whispering and saying how like Craig doesn't want to say on camera that Paige is like, I guess, being more successful than he is at this point, and that's an issue. And you get the sense that Paige also wants that to be said on camera. She wants it to be part of the disclosed public life that she's being more successful, and Craig clearly wants that to be something that is not said, or the fact that is like part of their problems. They want that not to be part of the disclosed public life. So having that conversation in whispers with like the fixed installed camera gives it that extra degree of it coming off to the audience as like hidden knowledge, which sells it that much more. So that's great. In terms of like the moving cameras, more like well lit stage stuff, it is a blast for me to have everybody wearing goofy ass costumes. I'm a sucker for that stuff. It is so much fun. I love it. And just with these people too, like we have a lot of like pretty dopey people who really seem to be just like trying to figure out like what it means to like be an adult, and to have them all acting like kids playing dress up is just like it just sells it so much for me. And just the fact that like I loved the stuff between Craig and Kyle. I loved their like little pouty confrontation. The fact that they're both dressed as pirates is so good. Like just these like classic like little kid pirate costumes, and Craig makes Kyle wade in the little blow up dinghy fake pirate boat. And he's just sitting there, classic Craig stuff, just being like, yep, I'm dressed as a pirate sitting in a boat, just gonna keep sitting there. And that's like Craig's way. Somebody actually points that out quite correctly, I think. Maybe it was West, that like that's his way of big manning him, is to like make him wait and sit there in the boat. And then he finally comes back, and they're a little awkward discussion where they try to access their emotions and aren't very good at it. While they're in this stupid boat, dressed as pirates. It was beautiful stuff for me. And Kyle kind of was like,
do you lean a certain way in terms of who you are more sympathetic to, Kyle or Craig?
I like Kyle a lot. He's dumb as shit, and I think he's a great character. He is super likable to me, and I just find him really funny, and I think he kind of wins in that engagement because he's the first one who manages to like break through and make like a big emotional statement, which is, bro, I don't think your level of sadness could even come close to how sad I was. which is great. I just love how awkwardly he summons that. So I like the way that he comes off, and he's like the one that I like more.
Okay, yeah, I also am more sympathetic to Kyle in this situation. Well, for one, I am on the record as being a Craig hater. I'm a Craig hating Craig, but I also just think that Kyle is a fantastic reality star, and you're right, he is so funny to me. Anytime I'm watching him, it's just like I think he's hilarious. Just watching him in this like classic 2010 shark outfit DJing is just like, I don't know, it's just,
he loves those outfits.
So funny.
Also, shout out to when he's wearing the shark outfit and he says, I think referring to Ciara and Jesse, oh, they're chummy, going to make shark references all night. I don't think anybody he was talking to like got that, but that was like a surprisingly clever line for him. Oh, also about the costumes, another one that I really liked is Ciara's amazing seagull costume. But then when she starts taking it off and she's got like the white makeup on, it's very like Baron Samedi. It's like a very like, and with like the green contact lenses,
the eyes are crazy. Yeah,
it was crazy. So many great costumes, too much fun. Like just it's just a carnival. I love it.
Yeah. What highlights that we haven't covered do you have here?
What haven't we covered? I mean, yeah, it's still my favorite part that Jesse is hitting on Ciara. Like, I find it hilarious, and I love that they give us some good like cross cutting too, like when West is like cleaning up after the party, which is like classic West like me stuff. And
pick me boy.
Yeah. And he's being asked about it, and he's just like talking about like their relationship, and like, oh, it just, hurts me that she would say those things about me and stuff. And they cross cut between that and her and Jesse just hitting on each other. It's just really funny that he still sees everything that Ciara's doing through that lens, and therefore sees that everything that Jesse is doing when he talks to Ciara through the lens of his relationship with her, when it's all he's the only one who cares about that at this point. It's just in him. And it's also related to that, really funny to me when Jesse is like kind of feeling it out, like trying to figure out what West's reaction would be if he hooked up with Ciara. But with that, it doesn't want to like let West know that he's trying to hook up with Ciara, and he's just like, like, yeah, if she like hooked up with somebody else, like, how would you feel about that? And West is like, just like really just starts digging into his emotions, where how he wants to express his relationship with Ciara, and he's just so focused on that he's cannot see that Jesse is clearly fucking playing him, and clearly has an ulterior motive, and it's just really, really funny to me.
Yeah, I think in terms of my highlights that we haven't really touched on, I guess you mentioned Jesse's FaceTime with Lexi, but the drunk FaceTime with Lexi was such a standout moment for me. The whole, I jerked off before the party so I wouldn't miss you too bad.
That was so good. And what's funny about that, good. Yeah, after he says that, and then she replies with something like, oh, so you wouldn't miss me. And he's like, yeah, so I wouldn't. And then you have a moment where he stalls, and he kind of drunkenly is like, assesses the conversation, and it's like, I miss you. And yet still, even though that he manages to say one thing that isn't like the first thing that comes to his mind, which is how he usually speaks, he still manages to follow that up with being like, oh, I had such a fun time hanging out with Ciara. Like, we talked all night long. Just can't help it. Can't help it. Or maybe he's doing it intentionally. Again, I'm not sure.
Yeah. And Lexi follows that up with something like, oh, I'm sure by the end of the summer they'll be friends again. And he just like burps and says probably not, and like pieces out. Like that's how he ends the phone call. So good. I do want to circle back to the conversation between Paige and Ciara that we get over the fixed cameras. The fact that Paige is kind of accusing Craig of self-producing, which is like really a mortal sin in terms of Bravo. I think it's really fascinating. Like, this feels like a really big accusation to levy against your boyfriend, who you both have built your entire careers around, trying to present yourselves as authentic. And Craig's whole personality is like almost West-like in terms of trying to be a likable guy. It's clearly catered, but he's trying to come off as natural. And so to get this uttered out of Paige's mouth in a setting that she knows is being recorded, it feels like a pretty big deal. I'm interested to know what your read is on that.
Yeah, it does feel like a big deal, and it does feel helpful for the audience too to understand what the sticking point is. So, it's I mean, it feels like Paige has been done with the relationship maybe for a while, and has just kind of been figuring out her moment to follow through on breaking it up. I think it just comes off as like something that she's already decided. I think like with like a long-term relationship, there's like deciding you want to break up, and then there's the much later process of like deciding you're going to break up, which is much harder to do. And I think it feels like Paige has definitely crossed the first threshold maybe a while ago, but just based on that conversation. So I do agree that there was like very important information given there.
Whose side are you on, Paige or Craig?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't really like either of them that much, and I haven't been following the show long enough to like have like a deep invested knowledge. I do kind of think that Craig can be a little annoying with the way he presents himself. I do also find that Paige can be a little annoying in the way that she like plays up a kind of childish silliness that can feel like very evasive and like a way of just like not ever interacting genuinely. So I don't know whose side I'm on. What about you? Are you team Paige? Because you're an anti-Craig.
Yeah, I am. I mean, I think that Paige, I have had a while where I have like not liked Paige, when I'm coming around on her. I think she's had a really good season on Summer House. I think that she thrives on Summer House, and I think she's like core to that show. So I'm definitely coming around on her, and I definitely just I like her a lot more than Craig, because I just really don't like Craig. So I would be team Paige here.
All right.
One thing that is interesting about Summer House is that I think it's the only real show that I can think of where they have kind of embraced the idea that these people are reality show stars. Like, we hear lots of like talk about the shows and what it is or isn't on camera. It's a big contrast to something like Vanderpump Rules, where they were keeping up this idea that everyone was still a server working for Lisa for the longest time, never really fully embracing the idea that this is a show about reality TV personalities. And I find that pretty interesting.
Yeah, I like that too. I mean, they do still, when they first reintroduce the characters every episode and they show their names on the screen, they do give their job underneath it. It is always like entrepreneur, podcaster. Paige is a podcaster. So they are still like sort of framing them in terms of having nebulous jobs that are not just reality TV star. But I agree that narratively, like, they do like allow them to have discussions about the fact that this is their job, and that this is and some of the conflicts in their relationships are based on job stuff, and that like is
someone going on Watch What Happens Live, like that's a plot point. So I really like that.
Yeah, me too. I enjoy that a lot.
So one person that we haven't talked about yet is Carl, and we got introduced to his new girl. What's your first read on her?
Okay, I love Lil. Fucking hysterical.
Right? Yeah,
Lil. Yeah, I think. I can't believe I almost skipped over mentioning Lil. She would have come up in the stars anyways. I think the first line we hear her say is, "Anyway, magicians are dope," which just sets the stage. for what a dork this person is. She's great. And she just, if somebody right away is just like going on about magic like that is, and magicians and how much that, like, they might as well be showing you
to
an
go to
empty
magic
hand.
school.
Yeah. That's she's just showing you an empty hand, closing a fist, and then pulling a red flag out of it. That's what she's doing right now. Though I think, like, for Carl, that might be his speed. Like, he is an awkward dork too. Like, he has a lot of awkwardness in his, like, the way he presents and stuff. There's a lot of like stiffness and oddness about him. So, I can see how they vibe on that. But man, she was really, really funny to me when on the dance floor. Like, of course she does the worm. Like,
yeah,
you knew Lil was going to have to do the worm. This is a girl who only reads webcomics and fan fiction.
Yeah.
And when she's leaving, she's like, "Yeah, I think my parents are coming to pick me up soon." She's great. I love Lil.
Yeah, there's one amazing shot of like Kyle is wandering around on that blue tarp that they've got. That is representing the ocean that the dinghy was sitting on, and in the background you can see Lil teaching Carl how to do breakdancing moves. It is so fucking funny.
My god, I don't think I even noticed that. That is so good. She's the best.
Yeah, she's great. So speaking of stars, who are your stars here?
Let's punch in Lil at number 3. Please, more of her. I'm doing it in reverse order this time, shaking it up. I'll give Kyle number 2 for everything I mentioned about his costumes and how funny he is. But I think number 1's got to be Jesse. Like, this was a big Jesse episode for me. It was all about his brazenness, his charisma, his huge presence was just like a fascinating thing in the show.
Yeah, I that's gonna also be my number 1 star. This was a Jesse episode. He was like our unreliable narrator that was guiding us through this chaotic party. I really loved him taking us through from his perspective this party. He felt like the host, and I loved it. I think number 2 is going to be Kyle. I just think that he was on fire this episode in terms of just, he was really funny. I love the DJing in the shark suit. It really brought me back, 10 years in the past. And I just love the vibe. He's really funny. And I think my 3rd star is going to go to Paige. I think that she's helping, carry the narrative a little bit here, and I really appreciate someone that is going to do some heavy lifting here, because she is functioning as this conduit for the conflict between Kyle and Craig. She's got her own conflict with Craig, and she's still like not so focused on it that it's detracting from her giving us some more like fun dynamic interactions with the rest of the cast. So I'm not always going to sing Paige's praises, but I want to sing them here. Cool. Well, I think that about covers everything for today. Dylan, do you want to let everyone know where they can find you?
Yeah, you can find my ratings about movies on Substack. It's just my name that you can look for. That's Dylan, Dylan Ferguson.
And I'm Craig Midwinter. You can just find me on Instagram at Bravo Outsider, on TikTok at Bravo Outsider. You just hit the like and subscribe button on YouTube. You'll see us next time. We're talking about whatever we're going to talk about next week. Probably Summer House, and I don't know what else is going on. What else is going on in the Bravo world? Let us know in the comments. It helps us out a ton.
Yeah, tell us what you want us to cover.
Yeah.
If there's a show we're ignoring and you're like, why the hell aren't you talking about this show? Well, you let us know. Maybe we'll. Yeah.
Oh, Atlanta is on right now. So, but if you want to hear us talk about something else, we'll talk about it. Until next week, keep on wiping.